The sea took her father on a clear day. No storm, no warning, just a man who went fishing and never came home. His daughter swore she would make the ocean pay. She had no idea the ocean was listening. The coastline of Moba Bay curved like a crescent blade. Golden sand framed by cliffs that stood like ancient guardians. Waves crashed in a rhythm older than memory. And there, small but unyielding, stood Zira. Her braided hair whipped in salt spray. Her feet sank into wet sand. Her fists were clenched at her sides. The fishermen called her the sea's daughter, not because she loved the ocean, but because she defied it. Every child in Moba Bay grew up fearing the waves. The sea fed them, but it also claimed lives without apology. Zira's father had been one of them. Since that day, she hated the ocean's arrogance. If the sea believes it owns our fate, she would whisper, then I will show it who truly commands. Elder Mala watched her from his hut above the highest tide line. His skin was like parchment, his eyes deep as river stones. One evening, as Zira brought fish to her mother's hut, he called out to her, "Child of thunder," he rasped. "There are battles that break even the brave. The sea does not forgive. It only listens and remembers." Zira answered without lowering her head. "Then let it remember me, elder. Let it remember the one who stood unafraid." Her mother, Tessa, said nothing. She only laid her hand on Zira's shoulder and whispered, "Pride feels warm when the world is cold. Be careful, it doesn't burn you." But what no one in Moba Bay understood yet was that the sea had been waiting for Zira, not to punish her, but to recruit her. And the price it would ask would cost more than her voice. When the season of storms arrived, Zira's anger reached its peak. The fishermen refused to sail, but Zira dragged her father's old canoe across the sand, determined to prove that courage could conquer fear. Tessa ran after her, crying out, "The sea has already taken one life from this house. Must it take yours too?" Zira did not turn. "If I fear it, then it wins twice." The rain struck like whips. The canoe leapt against the waves. She gripped the paddle so tightly her palms bled. She shouted into the storm, telling the sea it had no power over her. Then something extraordinary happened. The storm fell silent. The waves flattened. The rain paused. And in that impossible quiet, she heard a voice, low, immense, echoing through her bones. "Small one, you call us arrogant, yet here you are, shouting into eternity, demanding its bow. Who, then, is proud?" Zira's breath caught. "You took my father. He came to us willingly. Every sailor knows the risk. Do not confuse grief with debt." The ocean swelled, and the canoe flipped. Water filled her mouth. Darkness closed around her. When she opened her eyes, she was no longer in the storm. She floated in a vast blue glow, surrounded by shimmering fish, drifting like silver thoughts. Before her rose the spirit of the deep, a shape neither man nor woman, face shifting like water under sunlight. "You seek mastery, Zira. Mastery demands sacrifice. Give me your voice, and I will make the tides obey you." She hesitated. A lifetime of silence, but power to defend her people, power to prove the sea could be tamed. She whispered, "Yes." Bubbles burst from her throat, and she felt her voice vanish like breath in wind. Blue light surrounded her. and Zira felt the currents bend to her will. She woke on the beach at dawn. The storm had vanished. Villagers gathered in awe. Elder Mala stared at her with disbelief. "The sea obeys you." Zira nodded. Her mouth could no longer form sound, but the waves around her lapped gently, almost affectionately. From that day, fishing became effortless. The waters stayed calm. Nets overflowed. Zira had given her voice but gained dominion. The people called her protector, blessing, queen of tides. But some whispered uneasily, "What power demands such silence?" The ancestors ask only one thing of those who listen: share the story, a like, a subscribe. That is how legends survive. Now listen closely, because what happened next turned a blessing into a curse, and the truth behind it all has been buried for generations. Months passed. The bounty made Moba Bay wealthy. Fishermen from other coasts came seeking her help. But when outsiders from a neighboring village, led by a man named Jero, begged her to bless their boats too, Zira refused. Their village was starving, but the tides had been promised to Moba Bay alone. Jero slammed his spear against the sand. "You think the sea belongs to you?" Zira touched the water, and waves surged, forcing Jaro to his knees. The onlookers gasped. Pride flickered behind her silence. Tessa turned away with tears in her eyes. That night, Elder Mala found her by the shore. When one person commands what should be shared, suffering waits downstream, he said. Blessings unshared become curses. At dawn, the neighboring village tried to fish beyond Zira's boundary. The sea turned violent. 2 boats overturned. Word spread that Zira had cursed them. Guilt gnawed at her. Each command she gave required more strength, more pain. Her veins glowed blue. Her heart throbbed in rhythm with the current. It felt like drowning on dry land. Her mother found her trembling at the water's edge and spoke softly. "Your father used to say, the sea answers those who listen, not those who shout. Maybe you have become what you hated." For the first time, Zira saw herself, not as savior, but as tyrant. She ran into the surf, determined to return what she had taken. The ocean floor glowed as she sank. The spirit of the deep appeared, wreathed in light. "You wish to undo our bond?" Zira nodded. Words could not carry her regret, but her silence screamed louder than any voice. "Then what would you offer in place of your voice?" She thought of her mother's face, her people's laughter, her own pride, its weight like an anchor. Then she answered inside her own mind, "Take me instead." A worthy exchange. The waters rose into a towering wall, a wave taller than the cliffs, poised to crush Moba Bay. Villagers woke to a roar. Elder Mala limped to the shore. Tissa fell to her knees, and the wave stopped, frozen mid-crest like glass. From its heart, a single figure drifted upward. Zira, eyes closed, glowing faintly blue. Her form dissolved into mist that merged with the sea. The wave receded, slowly, gently. The ocean was calm once more. When morning came, fish returned to every village's nets. Not just Moba Bay, the sea became shared again. Tessa looked over the quiet water and whispered, "You have given back the tide." The children of Moba Bay still tell stories of the Tide Maiden, a spirit who walks the shoreline at dusk. They say if you listen carefully, you can hear a voice rising through the foam, a lullaby of waves speaking for someone who once could not. But here is the part the elders never tell. Elder Mala, before he died, confessed something to Tisa that changed everything. The spirit of the deep was not ancient. It was not a god. It was once a human, a proud guardian who made the exact same bargain generations ago. And the guardian before that, and the one before that. Each time someone defies the sea with enough pride, their soul replaces the last in an eternal cycle. The spirit does not punish pride. It inherits it. And tonight, when the moon is high and the water glows blue, a faint silhouette can be seen standing at the shore. Hair waving like seaweed, eyes of light. The villagers whisper with both fear and reverence. Zira keeps the tide steady. For now, because somewhere out there, another child is watching the waves with clenched fists, and the sea is already listening.